Welcome, y'all.
Hey, Terry.
I figured you'd like that.
I
verse.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, and I brought my bride with me.
Do you want to say her name?
I would just say Mel.
Mel?
Mel's here.
But
And
she's not mic'd.
she may be my dedicated driver.
Oh, your dedicated driver.
Or designated. Is that it?
It's actually designated, I think.
Well, I'm a dedicated to her, this show.
We're dedicating this show to Mel. Sounds good.
And her driving.
So what's new? Anything?
I heard some good jokes, but I can't repeat them.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
you can tell me those after the show.
Sure thing.
And we're going to 1966 for this story.
Oh, wow. 1966?
Yes. Well, I'm going to tell you some things that happened in 1966. The original Batman, the TV show, aired for the first time in 1966. Did you ever watch it?
I was only 12, but yes.
I wasn't born yet, but I still watch the Batman show where they put the pow, zap,
Yeah, right.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Billie Jean King won her first Wimbledon. First of 6 total in her career.
Mm.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. First.
It came out?
Yep. The cartoon, the one they still show today.
Yeah.
And finally, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Clint Eastwood.
What a movie, huh?
Premiered in 1966.
Wow.
So that's a little pop culture for you.
What was the economy like?
Didn't look up any figures on money this time. Nope, I didn't.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a guy named Richard Benjamin Speck.
Okay.
And I know the name Richard Speck, but I wasn't really sure what the crime was. Because I don't typically do the super famous ones, and this guy is super famous. But he was born in Illinois on December 6, 1941.
Okay.
His mother was religious and a teetotaler.
Mm.
His father worked as a packer, like in a plant, having previously worked as a farmer and a logger.
Wow.
In 1947, when Richard was only 6 years old, his dad died from a heart attack. His dad was only 53.
Dang. Mm.
And he was close to his dad.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like, and you'll understand as the story goes on, I kind of feel like if his dad wouldn't have died so young, he might not have went down a bad path.
Right.
Because his dad was a good guy. So after a few years, Richard's mom got remarried to a traveling salesman from Texas. And by the way, he had a criminal record that spanned 25 years. The traveling salesman did.
Wow.
Yeah. And
on the road, huh?
yeah, well, one of the things he was a big time drinker and he got a lot of DUIs, but he also had other criminal charges too. But this caused Richard Speck to start drinking at the age of 12.
Well, I think I had my first sip of beer.
Well,
in 1966.
But I don't even think.
It was at the kitchen table.
But I don't even think 12 is bad if you're just having a sip to try it, because most of the time kids don't even like it.
But he's buying it, drinking it?
Well, he's drinking it. I'm assuming maybe some of his stepdad's stash. His first arrest was at the age of 13. He was trespassing. And then the trespassing charge was followed by dozens of other arrests for misdemeanors over the next 8 years.
Wow.
Just a side note, you know how I told you he started drinking when he was
right,
12?
12.
By the time he was 15, he was drinking every day.
Doggone.
I don't even drink every day.
He's doing that to escape, I guess.
Okay, so we're going to fast forward a little bit to 1966. March 5th, 1966. So Richard Speck's 24 about this time.
Okay.
He bought a car, robbed a grocery store, and stole 70 cartons of cigarettes, which he then sold out of the trunk of his car in the grocery store's parking lot. Man, you don't shit where you eat.
Wait, the same store he stole it from?
The same store he stole it from. Yeah.
They didn't have far to catch him, huh?
Well, by the time this was all police put two and two together.
Yeah.
He had abandoned the car. But the police found out it was his car, and they issued a warrant for his arrest. And if he had been arrested, it would have been his 42nd arrest in Texas.
Good Lord.
At 24 years old.
24.
Yeah.
At 24.
I mean, no. Did I say 24?
I don't know. I'm confused now.
It would have been his 42nd arrest at the age of 24.
Wow.
So it's almost like he was doing like 2 a year from the moment he was born. So that's the average.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he found out the cops were on to him, and then his sister drove him to the Dallas bus depot, and he took a bus to Chicago, Illinois. Remember, he was originally born in Illinois.
Right.
He still had some family members there. I think a sister and a brother-in-law. And
so he wasn't the only child.
He wasn't. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just giving you a warning. I'm gonna say semen a lot in the story.
Huh? Yeah.
Because he wants to get a job at the Maritime Hiring Hall as a seaman.
Well, I'm gonna keep my smiles down.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like,
I know what you're trying.
Working on a ship.
Yeah, I know.
But they're called seamen.
Yes.
Okay.
That was one of my jokes about.
So, after he had been in Illinois for a couple months, he heard about a job as a seaman at the Maritime office, and he went over there. Well, the job didn't pan out, so he fell back on his old ways, which were thugging and thieving. He didn't have a job, so he had to do something.
So let me get this straight. So he wanted to join the Navy?
No. I know they're called seamen, but
You're talking like a merchant marine, like
kind of like that.
Okay.
Like they worked on docks. They also worked on the ships. And but they also called them seamen like they do in the Navy. Mm-hmm. So the job didn't pan out. He's at the Maritime Hiring Hall. He leaves, and there's a park across the street from this place, the hall, called Luella Park. And when you sit in this park, you look directly into the backyard of 2319 East 100th Street. And at that point in time, it was the home for 9 female nursing students.
Oh.
And they think that Speck slept in the park that night and kind of cased the house.
Mm-hmm.
So, July 13th, Richard Speck spent the day drinking heavily in bars. He tried to hustle people at pool. So, like, he's back to his old, He stole a gun from a lady he was chatting up at one of the bars. At one point during the night, he started flashing the gun around to other people in the bar. So he finally left the bar around 10:30 p.m. And when he left, he went to 2319 East 100th Street.
He went straight there.
Yep, where the 9 young nursing students lived. Once Richard Speck got inside the home, he made his way upstairs. And it was about 11 p.m. at this point.
But he just broke in?
He just walked, yep. As a matter of fact, they still have in evidence today the broken screen door that he was able to... the screen door was latched. I think he like ripped open the screen, reached in, latched it, and then I guess the door on the other side of that wasn't even locked. Either way, he got in.
He got in.
And the first bedroom he entered was a room of 23-year-old Corazon Amaro. Speck hoarded, she goes by Cora for short.
Okay.
I don't think that's the right word.
Hoarded
her and 5 other nurses into a large room in the house.
He gathered them.
Or
yes. Hoarded.
So he did it because he had that gun. I was telling you that he could make them do whatever with the gun pointed at him. He tied them up with bed sheets and other items in the house. He used some of those things eventually to strangle them.
Oh.
But here's the thing. At 11:45, a 7th nurse, remember I told you 9 lived there.
There were 9. Mm-hmm.
A 7th nurse arrived home. Her name was Gloria Davy. She was 22 years old. She was just coming home from a date. He took her at gunpoint and tied her up. So now he's got all these girls in one room. Excuse
all
me.
hoarded up in one room.
Hoarded up. Is that the right word? Wrangled? I don't know. Anyway. So the first woman that he actually took out of the group of women was Pam Wilking.
Pam, okay.
Yeah. He dragged her into another room. And she put up a fight. As he's like trying to subdue her, he stabs her right in the heart. Mm-mm. And as this is happening, Marianne Jordan and Suzanne Ferris walk into the house. So now he's got to deal with two more.
And he just killed Pam. And
yeah. So he began struggling with them. Suzanne ended up being stabbed 18 times during the struggle.
Good Lord.
And he strangled her at some point. Marianne was stabbed 3 times in the chest, once in the neck, and once in the eye.
Oh, man.
It's horrific. So Pam Wilking, who he had dragged off in the other room and stabbed in the heart.
Right.
He just did a once and done with her. He literally hit her heart with one stab, and that's how she died. Yeah. Okay. So remember, there are 9 women living in the house. Mm-hmm. We have 3 dead now. The remaining
6.
Well, 1 hasn't come home yet.
Okay. So 5.
So there's 5 left. Yeah.
All hoarded in that room.
Yeah, but one by one, he would take them out of that room and bring them into another room and kill them.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Like, he was just killing them to kill them.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't rape them. He was just killing them.
It wasn't sexual. It was just.
No. Yeah. So the first detective on scene knew one of the victims. Her name was Pat Matusik. And he had known Pat since she was a little girl. Some of the other girls that were killed that night were Marlita Gargalo and Valentina Passion. And those 2 ladies were found lying on top of each other. So he's just like killing them and throwing them.
Stacking them.
Yeah. Nina Schmel was also strangled. And the last victim, who I told you, I don't remember if she was one of the ones that came in. Anyway, the last victim, Gloria Davy, she had a ligature around her neck. She was strangled. Mm-hmm. 1 woman survived. The very first one I told you about, Corazon Amaral.
She survived?
She crawled under a bed and hid. Oh, wow. And she watched Richard Speck and listened to her friends die for 3 hours.
Good Lord.
So this went from late night, July 13th into early morning of July 14th. So if I say 13th or 14th, I'm talking about the same, you know. So around 3:30 a.m., Speck went to take one last look around. And I don't know if he lost count or what, but he never saw Cora under the bed and he never realized he missed her.
Thank God.
So he left at 5:30. Cora got out of her bindings, looked around, saw all of these poor women dead, and she opened a window and started screaming. And it took 20 minutes before anybody even heard her screams.
Damn.
So I listened to the police interview with Cora after the fact. And she made it clear that she wanted to help any way she could, but she was terrified this man was going to come back for her. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to be, no, come on, we're going to protect you.
Yeah.
Okay. She got with the police sketch artist and came up with I would say a pretty dang good sketch of the guy who did this. And so now they have something to circulate in the community. Mm-hmm. So, okay, at this point, this is a few hours after everything's all said and done. 8:45 a.m., July 14th. Police are starting to try to investigate. They talked to Dennis Ryan, who worked at a local gas station. Dennis told the police about a guy that he looked like the sketch, that matched the description, who had come by the gas station the day before and left 2 suitcases to leave overnight. Is that like a normal thing in 1966? You're just
no.
like, hey, can you watch my bags? I'll be back.
We don't do that at an airport.
Okay. Well, the guy didn't, the dentist, the gas station attendant didn't, I guess he didn't know the man's name.
Right.
But he knew he was a seaman. So they decided from that.
You had me choking on that.
Welcome, 12-year-old Tpop.
That's all right.
Okay. So from that, just that little word, seaman.
I'm good with it.
They went to the Merchant Marine Hall to see if anybody there might know the guy. So the hiring manager looked at the sketch.
And he identified him. Huh?
Yes. He said his name is Richard Speck.
Wow.
This is only a few hours after
they got a name now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Richard Speck was staying at a place called the Shipyard Inn, like a little motel. And around 11 a.m., he was just waking up. I mean, he had a long night, hard night. Yeah. Well, when he woke up at 11, he went to a local bar. And I don't know how, but he got a message that he needed to go to the Maritime Hiring Hall because they have a job for him. And they're holding, it's urgent he gets over there because they're holding up a ship waiting for him to get on the job. Oh, wow. But that was a ruse.
I loved it, though.
The police set this all up.
Yep.
But Speck was no dummy. No, he figured it out.
He did?
He called a cab and he ran.
That little shit.
Yeah. He was smart enough to figure out it was a trap. So he ran to the Raleigh Hotel and checked in there. Now remember, this is 1966. There's no seeing somebody use their credit card and tracking.
No cell phone. Oh, none of that.
No, the police in the same town, like if there was 2 different police departments in the same town, they probably weren't even communicating.
It's word of mouth. Yeah.
So, and it's 11 a.m. It isn't even close to 24 hours at this point.
So he drove to Riley.
He got a cab. He went to the Riley
and
Hotel.
they don't know about the murders.
So at the Riley Hotel, he checked in. He went to a bar. He picked up a hooker. He had a gun and showed it to her when he brought her back to his hotel room. Well, when she left, she reported the gun to the desk clerk. So the police come in and they confiscate the gun, but they don't know that this is the guy who killed all the nurses. My God. So they didn't take him. They just took the gun away from him.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Let him go.
Well, from this point, the heat is on. The cops are close. You know, he's getting nervous. So he decides to go to Skid Row. And the police are like, we never thought to look to Skid Row for him because he had jobs and we figured he had money and blah, blah, blah. So he went to the finest motel on Skid Row and checked in there.
Must be a double cardboard box or something.
It was pressed wood. What is that?
Yeah, that particle wood.
Particle wood. So he actually stayed in that night and he didn't go out because the police were hunting for him. And over back at the crime scene, fingerprints were being taken off the door. They had to match his fingerprints to something, so they had his Texas fingerprints flown in.
Well, how did Texas come in again now?
Well, Texas, remember the stepdad was a salesman from Texas, a traveling salesman. So at some point, he went with his mom to be with his family. He was young, you know. So
they had to see now. My dedicated driver, she knows a thing or two about fingerprints.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. We should have her mind.
Well, she might pipe in once in a while. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
But even in 66, they didn't have the whereabouts. Like you said.
They didn't even have fax.
Yeah, they couldn't, like, electronically send it.
They flew them in. Yep. So they compared them, and it was a match. The fingerprints on the door to him match.
So they know the guy.
They know who it is. They know he did this. They have a sketch of him. I mean, I don't know if they would have a photograph of him at this point.
They put a warrant out, right?
I would assume.
Oh, you would hope.
Well, he knew that the police were onto him, and he tried to kill himself by slashing his arm.
Oh, okay.
But he failed. And just a little side note, the bloody newspapers, because he had read the newspaper and saw that they were after him,
right,
slashed his arm, and there was bloody blood got on the newspapers.
Sure.
They have them in evidence today still, the bloody newspapers. But a clerk at the motel found him, called an ambulance, and he was taken to the hospital. Now, doctor on his way in that morning picked up a local paper and saw the article about Richard Speck. Richard Speck had tattoos. Not only do we have a sketch of him, but we know he has a tattoo that says "Born to Raise Hell."
Okay.
So the doctor who's taking care of him
notices the
tattoos. He's like, "Be right back." Okay. He calls the police.
Wow.
And we're only about 72 hours out from the murders at this point. So I feel like for 1966,
that's not bad.
That's pretty amazing. So super fast in my opinion.
Sure.
All right. Now, so he's caught. Okay.
Okay, so they got him.
They got him. The world waited 25 years to hear Richard Speck confess to the murders of the 8 nursing students. Silence. He never talked, never confessed. He wouldn't take the witness stand in his own defense. Nothing.
He said nothing.
Nothing. And on April 15th, 1967, so we're almost a year later, 8 months, 9 months, after 49 minutes of deliberation, 49 minutes, the jury found Speck guilty and recommended the death penalty.
Good.
The judge sentenced Speck to die in the electric chair.
Mm-hmm.
But as you can see, my story's not finished.
It's not. And this is all in Illinois.
Yes. Illinois, as my grandmother said as well.
I noticed you had a different accent. Illinois.
Okay. 67 is when he went to trial.
Right.
Went to jail. Set to die. 1971, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld his conviction, but reversed his death sentence. Yeah. He was resentenced to 400 to 1,200 years in prison.
God.
400 to 1,200 years in prison.
That's a lifetime, huh?
Yeah. But then later that was further reduced to 100 to 300 years in prison. Either way, he's going to die in prison.
I'm listening.
But the crazy thing is...
Here we go.
Here we go. He was eligible for parole.
No way. I didn't mean to yell. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It shocked me too when I found out. Why are you even wasting time having a hearing? Why are you dragging the families back into that?
Every time.
Every single time, because if nobody shows up to, have a rebuttal.
Contest
So, but the good news is he had 6 parole hearings over the next several years after he, all this stuff was reduced. He was denied parole every time. So he's not getting out.
Good.
Now, here's where you think the story would end. No. I'm going to tell you a little bit about his jail time because remember I told you he was silent, said nothing about this. Well, he hated reporters, but he granted one press interview in 1978 to the Chicago Tribune columnist Bob Greene. So Speck's around 37 years old at this point.
Okay.
During the interview, he publicly confessed to the murders for the first time. And he said he thinks he would get out of prison between 1978 and 2000. At which time he hoped to run his own grocery store business.
You got to be kidding.
No, he's delusional, man.
Very much so.
So, okay, here's the crazy thing. That interview was done in 1978. May 1996. So we've gone quite a bit forward.
Yeah.
Some bootleg videotapes from the prison surfaced. They were made at Stateville Correctional Center in 1988, but they're just coming out in 1996. The first time these were shown was to the Illinois State Legislature. The videos contain explicit scenes of sex, drug use, and money being passed around by prisoners who seemingly had no fear of being caught.
In the prison. Wow.
Yeah. And I call it bootleg because it was, first of all, they shouldn't have a video camera in there, much less the drugs and all the other things. But the guy who's filming it is another inmate. Inmates
are filming others.
Yes. Okay. So, God, in the video, Speck performed oral sex.
The seaman did.
Yeah, the seaman performed now I'm all messed up. Oral sex on another inmate.
I'm so sorry.
They shared large quantities of cocaine. God. And in the video, which I saw, not the oral sex part.
Wait, you actually saw footage of the video?
Yes.
Are you gonna show it?
No. The stuff that they could show, I saw. So Richard Speck was parading around in silk panties. And when I say panties, I mean girls' panties.
Oh, my God.
And he had female-like breasts.
What?
The first thing I thought when he took off his shirt was like, those are ladies' boobs. And they think that they smuggled in hormones for him. Yes. This
has turned kind of weird.
It's going to get,
I'm a little scared.
I was a little scared too. Well, on the video, one of the things he said, if they only knew how much fun I was having, they'd turn me loose. Talking about, like, he was living his best life.
Speck said this.
Yes. On the video. I saw him say it. Okay. So remember I told you the first people that got to see it from the public were the Illinois State Legislature.
Right.
They packed the auditorium. The video was 2 hours, but they stopped it when they started showing Speck performing oral sex on another man. They stopped the video.
I had to. They were throwing up.
Probably. So you can hear from behind the camera, the person filming it, the prisoner, said to Speck, "Did you kill the nurses?" And I'm going to give you quotes. Speck said, "Sure I did." Then the guy behind the camera is like, "Well, why did you do it?" And he said, "It just wasn't their night." And when he said, and the guy behind the camera asked him how he felt about himself. And he said, like, I always felt I had no feeling. So if you're asking me if I felt sorry, no. He also described in detail the experience of strangling someone. He said, "It's not like TV. It takes over 3 minutes and you have to have a lot of strength." Wow. I saw all this on video. And I'm going to tell y'all at the end where you can go, like I usually do if you want to watch this. Okay. So between the crime scene, what came out in court, now this video, police are still looking at this case. And they say that there's 2 key moments where all hell broke loose in that apartment building. Or what do you want to call it? A house. It was like a townhouse, I think. But 9 women living in it. That's a lot. It was pretty big.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first all hell broke loose moment was when Speck took Pamela Wilkins' bindings and took her to the other room. Speck said she resisted. He intended to rape her, but she fought. She spit in his face, and she said she was going to pick him out of a lineup when she got out.
Wow.
And he lost his shit, and that's when he stabbed her. Yeah, in the chest with the knife. Now, the second key moment centers around Gloria Davy. And what Speck said is that she is a dead ringer for his ex-wife.
Oh, wow.
Who he loathed, who he hated. He had so much bitterness, resentment, and hostility against his ex that seeing Gloria Davy just sent him into a tailspin.
Oh, man.
And he actually raped her. She was the only one that got raped. She was also the last woman that was killed in the sequence.
Yeah.
The bed sheet that was used to strangle Gloria was bound around her neck so tight that the police struggled to cut it off, not take it off, struggled to cut it off. And Richard Speck said in that jailhouse video, he said Gloria was flirting with him.
No way.
Delusional.
Very.
He said, and he's kind of laughing when he says this, I put the gun to her neck and said, "Get naked, bitch." What are you going to do when you have a gun?
Yeah, I mean, he's a sick bastard.
He is. So do you remember I told you, I'm going to go into a little more detail on some of the video that I've already told you about. So when this bootleg tape was made, the man that behind the camera said, "Do you like being fucked by men?" And Speck says, "Sure." And then him and his jailhouse lover, Richard Speck and his jailhouse lover, snort a bunch of cocaine, roll a giant pile of weed into joints.
God.
They count off a roll of $100 bills. This is in a maximum security.
How are they obtaining all this?
Well, I figured you would ask that.
Okay.
And it's not in my notes, but the majority of it is coming through from the people who work there.
Oh, man.
The officers, the security officers. It could be that their families are being threatened and they're terrified. It could be that they need money. And apparently from counting off a pile of $100 bills, they got money in jail. So
they got a video camera.
Yeah. And they're thinking that the security people.
Let me tell you, and in 1960, it was filmed in
88.
88. Do you remember what the video cameras looked like in 88?
Yeah.
They were a little bulky.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Shortly before December 5th, 1991. Wait, why did I say shortly before? On December 5th, 1991, Speck was transported from Stateville Correctional Center to Silver Cross Hospital. He was complaining of severe chest pains. Speck later died in the early morning hours of December 5th, which is the eve of his 50th birthday. The very next day, he was going to turn 50. He had a heart attack.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Karma.
And poor Richard Speck's sister, she feared that his grave would be desecrated, so she had him cremated and his ashes were scattered in an undisclosed location. I feel bad for her, though. She did help him. I didn't have it in the story, but she helped him a lot. If he was low on money, she would give him money. If he needed a ride somewhere, she would give him a ride.
Well, there's help. And then there's enabling.
Yeah, you're right.
We talked about that before.
You're right. Okay, I want to go over the victims one more time because I want to give, attention to them more so. But Gloria Davy, 22, that was the one that looked like his ex.
Right.
Patricia Matusik, 20. Nina Schmel, 24. Pamela Wilking, 20. Susan Ferris, 21. Marianne Jordan, 20.
These are young girls.
I know. Molita Gargulo, 22, and Valentina Passion, 23. They were all nursing students.
And only one survived.
Only one. That was Cora.
Cora, did she testify?
Oh, my God. Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm just going off my memory for this.
Yeah.
But when she was asked to identify, she got up out of the witness box, opened the little door, walked over to Speck, practically touching his face and pointing to him and saying, "This is the man who did it." Like, she shocked everyone when she did that. Nobody knew she was going to do that.
That's pretty brave.
Super brave.
Yeah.
So, okay, y'all want to watch that video. It's part of a A&E investigative report, season 1, episode 28. It's called Richard Speck Murders 8 Nurses in One Night.
Okay.
And I also went to Murder in Wikipedia, and I'm going to show a picture of him.
Oh, okay.
Now, this picture is when he was in Texas doing his crimes. It's a mug shot.
Dang, look, he looks familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Look at that.
that's him.
Mm.
And that's the abbreviated version of the Richard Speck.
There's more.
So much more. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, now you got me interested. I might want to go and see the video.
Yeah. It's very...
But not for long. Let me tell you.
Well, they didn't show any blowjob stuff on there.
Well, neither did they, I think, in, I don't know, in Brokeback Mountain. Mel wasn't home one night, and I was watching Brokeback Mountain. I almost started, I got a cold sweat. I just had to turn it off. It was so horrible. And all they were doing was sleeping in the same sleeping bag.
But
apparently they were tired of tending sheep, so they were tending each other.
I know about the movie, but I never saw Brokeback Mountain.
I don't recommend it to anybody, straight or not straight.
All right, so to lighten the mood,
please,
I have some crazy laws from different states that I've been working on.
Well, let's hear them.
We're going in alphabetical order, and we're on Maine right now.
Maine and this is alphabetical.
Yes, I've done a whole bunch before that. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana have all been done. I can say all the states in alphabetical order.
That's pretty good. I don't think I could.
All right. I learned in the 5th grade. Can you believe that?
What school did you go to?
Greenbrier Elementary.
Greenbrier.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
In Maine, after January 14th, you will be charged a fine for having your Christmas decorations still up. Yeah.
They don't do that in Denham Springs. That's for sure. In Denham Springs, if you have them up and not lit, that could be a crime. I'm sorry.
In Augusta, Maine,
yeah,
to stroll down the street playing a violin is against the law.
Wow.
They don't want any buskers in Augusta.
I love it.
No buskas in Augustus.
No bustas.
Okay. In Portland, Maine, shoelaces must be tied while walking down the street. You're going to get fucking arrested.
That's a given, right?
Shoes are untied. Yeah.
But yet you can have your pants hanging off.
Right. In Waterville, Maine, it's illegal to blow one's nose in public.
What?
Yep.
What?
Also in Portland, this is funny.
That's crazy.
It's unlawful to tickle a woman's chin with a feather duster.
That's old.
That's some cheeky shit there.
I think that's old law. They never took off the books.
I think a lot of these are old law.
I don't know about that.
The violin one
or the shoe tied.
I mean, who's gonna arrest somebody for not tying their shoes?
I'm gonna feel sorry for him when he busts his butt.
Well, talking about busting the butt.
Yeah.
This is the last one from Maine.
Okay.
You may not step out of a plane in flight. You will bust your butt.
But what if...
Who would want to fucking do that?
But what if you paid to go skydiving?
Well, I don't know the answer to that, but this law was you may not step out of a plane in
That's
flight.
amazing. That's great.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, that did lighten a bit.
Thank you.
Because it was kind of getting...
It was rough.
Oh, my God, it was dark.
It was very dark. That's what I do. And I tell these stories for those listeners out there who enjoy them.
Y'all are some sick people.
And if y'all want to support the show, what?
Can we... I know you're going to do another spot.
Another...
Public?
Meet and greet?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Meet and greet is January the 13th.
January 13th, Mel.
Mark your calendars. It will be at Sugarfield Spirits in Gonzales, Louisiana, which you could Google that and find out where it is.
Is that like a place where they make rum?
They do. They also make, I think, vodka and gin.
Sweet.
It's a place in Gonzales that is a distillery. So if you haven't been, it's a pretty cool place.
Sounds like fun.
And I think they'll give you a free tour if you ask. So, but we want to see y'all out there. I am going to have some koozies and some stickers and some magnets to give away.
Yeah.
Tpop sounds like is going to try to make it.
Well, I hope all of your
All my co-hosts.
Your co-host come.
Yeah, that would be great.
We need to have a group picture of the co-host.
We do, for sure.
And last time you had giveaways. You remember?
Yeah, I made a couple of baskets and we did a raffle. I think it was what, $5 a ticket?
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, the alcohol's kicking in.
Maybe you're going to give away a free TV.
My God. I do have some Grits with a Side of Murder merchandise that I could make into a basket.
That would be awesome.
And I think one of the co-hosts, Kirsten, is going to make some shirts that y'all can purchase.
Awesome. That would be great.
Yeah. But in the meantime...
And that's January 13th.
Correct.
Got it.
In the meantime, if you want to support the show, please go to Patreon/grits, Patreon/grits. And depending on what level you subscribe, you will definitely get stickers from me, a little note, and possibly bonus content, depending on the level you subscribe. And early releases, too, if you just can't wait till Saturdays when they come out.
Nah.
But I thank you for being here.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
And I hope you'll come back again.
Next time I want to bring my own story.
That would be great.
Okay.
I would love that.
Well, I'll work on it.
All right. We'll set a date.
And if we could, I'd like to co-host with Stump.
I know you want to do that. And
Me and Stump.
I am having trouble getting Stump
I heard. That's what I heard.
Off his job long enough to even, like, I can get him on a random Wednesday night at, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Bedtime.
Well, and if he's a hunter, he'll be in the woods.
Oh, no. He doesn't hunt.
Oh, well, that's good.
No, but selling cars is occupying his time right now.
I believe.
Shout out, Stump.
Yeah, Stump, we miss you.
That's right. Hopefully he'll be able to make it to the meet and greet.
Well, Tammy, thank you so much
for
having me today.
I'm so glad. Now, are you going to hang around and eat some food and watch some football?
Well, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
But, yeah, I'd like to get home at a decent time. I don't like driving at night.
Well,
she doesn't either.
I mean, the freaking sun goes down at 4:30 now. Yeah, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All right. We love y'all out there. Tell your mom and them to listen. And we're going to let Zydeco Mike take us out.
Yeah.